You're listening to the Real Women in Business podcast. I'm your host, Cass McCrory, and in this podcast, we highlight women in all kinds of businesses. For yourself, someone else, full-time, part-time, overtime hustle, together we will learn from and with one another. And if we get it right, it'll lift us all. Let's get into it. Friends, today I'm talking to Jenny Gudermont. We are talking about everything from running an MLM business in Young Living to the power of trying, feeling our feelings. We talk about divorce and sharing our kids. It is a deeply personal and thoughtful conversation that I am so excited to invite you to listen to. Let's get to the show. Jenny, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to talk to you today. I feel like I have known you forever. It's since Lexi was a little tiny baby because we were blogging.
Yeah, Blog World buddies.
World. Oh my goodness. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Jenny Gudermont, and I am a mom, and I'm a business owner, and I'm about to get married in about 30 days. I think that what defines me most is my personality. I'm successful in motherhood and business because of it. I started, like when we met, I started blogging right before I had my first child, Tucker. And that decision to start blogging opened up a whole new world for me. I met so many people online, and that was back when everybody was like, you have online friends? What is this thing? But that opened up a lot of doors for me, including getting into the business that I'm in now, which is working for Young Living. It's an MLM, which, voodoo, people get all crazy about that. But it opened the door for that. And that ended up opening the door for me allowing my now fiance to move up north. We were in a long distance relationship. So he was able to basically retire from his job and come north. So I feel like blogging started it all. It opened the door to meet so many new people. And then those people opened my eyes to so many different opportunities. And then that allowed me to do so many of the cool things I'm a part of now. So it's crazy how one decision can just trickle through your whole life.
Did you make it thoughtfully, or was it oh yeah, I'm just going to start to do this?
Yeah, it was just basically how I do most things. Just let's do this. I don't really put a lot of thought into a lot of things like that. I'm just let's do it. Yeah, everything. I feel like that's been kind of everything from even when I did photography or anything like that. It's just I want to do this. I'm going to learn it. Let's go. So
that is such a thread of kind of alignment across all of the guests that we've had on the podcast, and something that I resonate with really deeply too. It's, some of the things that I mull about for a really long time, nothing ever ends up happening with, but the things that I'm I'm just going to jump right into this and I'll figure it out. Those are the things that I cherish.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy how it just kind of letting go of your fear and jumping in can lead to such extraordinary things.
So you mentioned the ugly beast of MLM that everybody has a love-hate relationship with, depending upon who you are. Let's just talk about the elephant.
Yeah.
What do you love about Young Living? Because I know you love it, and I know you love the products and the company and everything. Let's talk about it.
When I started with Young Living, I wasn't even seeing a lot of what my friends were doing. I guess I was oblivious to them talking about it, talking about Young Living, talking about the products. One day I happened to do an Instagram post about, it was a joke. And I kind of like being funny. So it was a joke that I had went and, robbed the pharmacy and got all my goods or whatever. And they just all jumped on me. All my blog friends jumped on me and said, there's an oil for that. There's a Young Living product for that. And basically I said, okay, sell me. Why do I need this in my life? And through like a thread of like 50 emails back and forth, they were like, you need to do this. And not only that, but you need to jump into the business. You're perfect for it. And I was like, okay. I didn't really think about it. I didn't think about the company being an MLM. I had no really like preconceived notion about it. So when I started, it kind of was like when I was hit with those kind of like, oh my gosh, it's a multi-level marketing, or what are you doing? And there's a hitch. I just looked at it like, this is doing so much awesome in my life. Like, can't you see that part of it? And I didn't let the negative naysayers weigh me down or slow my roll, basically. I kept just doing what I wanted to do and share my love of the products, and share my love of the business. And I think that what's even better than sharing the products, which are awesome, is the real community vibe there is, and uplifting people to like their true potential, making their lives better in a million other ways that have nothing to do with the actual products, but it has to do with, you can do this. You can build your own business. You're a stay-at-home mom. You can build your own business. You want to help supplement your household income. You can do it. You just have to try, and put the work into it. So I don't know. I kind of just went in guns a-blazing, and it's totally ended up changing my life. And I've never seen the negative aspect of an MLM personally. So yeah.
I love that. I think, there's a lot of people that will give it a bad rap for, whatever. They've got their reasons.
Yep.
I did a lot of research around MLM, and it's, in any business, there is a hierarchy. The CEO makes more than the person on the line.
Yeah.
And there's 15 people in between them.
Yep.
Every organization has that same space. So I love that we're talking about it, because I think that there's an unnecessary stigma there that needs to just be broken open.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I love how MLMs, and I think Young Living does an especially great job at that. And certainly there's others too that do a really strong job at it as well. They do create community for women in places where we don't have community anymore. I look at 45, 50 years ago, it was very different. Women did different things. They volunteered together. They were very active in their churches. There were, and there's been some dismantling of those different organizations. And so it's really changed. So a lot of the women that I see really flourishing, they were kind of starving for community before it.
And some people get into businesses like this not even to make money. They just want to be connected to people and be encouraged by people. Like everybody gets into businesses like this for a different reason. Their why or their motivation totally could be that they just want to connect with other people, especially if they're in an environment where they're not out socializing with other people or volunteering or that sort of thing. And I mean, let's be real. We're in a world where it's so easy to not be connected.
Yes.
It's so easy to just be disconnected. And that's literally one of the things that I thrive on with this is I've never felt alone in this. I made the switch from working for the government in a social setting and around people all the time to working at home, but I've never lost that community feel or that I've been part of something. So you're totally right on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How is the vision for your life today different than what you had imagined fresh out of high school, fresh out of college?
Oh my gosh. Fresh out of high school or college, I don't even know if I really had a vision. To be honest, it was like, I just want to get a good job. I want to, like, I loved the community and area I lived in. I wanted to stay close to the town I grew up in. But I think that everything I've done, everything from blogging to photography, meeting, connecting new people, to this business, I've been able to actually create a vision for myself and my family. I think that what I'm doing now, especially, is important to me because I'm a role model for my boys. And I'm actually, I think I'm most proud of them watching their mom do something. It's pretty powerful to like run your own business and to be successful and to do all these things. And I want them to have that vision in their mind of what a woman it can be. Like, I want them to be able to, when they meet someone someday, like, be like, women are, they're amazing. Like, they can do amazing things. And I also want them to have a bigger picture of the world. When I grew up, I guess my boundaries were pretty close to home where I grew up. My family didn't travel a ton or anything like that. But I want to show my kids a bigger world. I want them to know that, like, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere for school. You can go anywhere for to start your life, anything like that. So that's been a really motivating factor in what I do. And the vision I have for our family is basically like being able to show them so much more.
I love that. I share that vision.
Yeah. So it's like, what you're able to do and show your kids, like, you're setting like this footprint for them to see and hopefully follow in. Like, don't be scared of what, don't have fears of the unknown. Like, go into it like full force.
Yeah. I really want to instill this sense of adventure with my kids. Like, I want them to see it as an adventure and know that the good happens, the bad happens, we deal with it.
Exactly.
And we choose to love it.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more.
So you have two guys, you have a fiance.
Yes.
How do you think there's a balance, and do you feel like you have it with work?
I don't ever really get bogged down by the balance, because I think that's just like it's whatever you think it is. There's not like a one size fits all for balance. My boys, even, Nick, Levi, and Tucker, they're all very aware of what I do. And the best thing is I can do a lot of my work from anywhere. So they're really supportive of when mom has to work, she's got to work. But I also have the flexibility of time, and that allows me to be able to take a couple days and go on a road trip and do all the fun things. But then they also know that, okay, when it's time to work, like, that's got to happen. So, and I think it's a healthy thing for your kids to see you work and
Yes.
those boundaries. Like, if I was working in the corporate world or anything like that, like, I would be gone. Like, they wouldn't even have accessibility to me. So I really feel like I have a balance and it's healthy for our family. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I know that for me, because I played a little bit into the MLM space myself and had a Rodan and Fields business for a period of time that I really loved. I really did. But I did find it, the always on nature of it, I was not very good at creating my own boundaries around that.
Yep. And that can bog down and burn out a lot of people when they don't feel like they have enough time or they don't have the boundaries. I know there was a period of time where I struggled with that as well. Like I'm the kind of person, when I started out, I think a lot of my success was that I was really quick to get back to people and I was always available. And part of that was that, it was just my life at the time. Like I was a single mom with my kids, and when they go with their dad, I was even more available. It was just me. Or I would make time during the day, whether it was like before work, lunch break, after work. Like I felt like that was part of my success. So it was hard to give up that accessibility to people. But now I give myself a little grace, and it's like, okay, people don't expect or need an immediate response all the time. And maybe if you give them a little bit of time, with team members or something, like they can figure out their own, issue. Like that's part of growing and helping others too, is like allowing them to do that. But I don't struggle with that anymore. I think that it can really get to people though if they don't set boundaries. I know some people that literally set work hours, office hours. I think the hardest part is obviously in the summer when your kids are home and, everything is fun time for them and you still have to show up and work and do your job. So that's the part I struggle with the most, is like closing off real life instead of closing off business. I think closing off real life is a lot harder. So
yes. And I think, I'm like, yes, because today, as we mentioned before we started recording, like today is Lexi's first day of summer vacation. And like, she's sleeping until 7:45. I leave at 8, so there's just like 10 minutes where she was able to squeeze in, 500 requests for the day.
Yep.
And it's hard. And I think but it is good. It is good to model, like, this is what it is to be working and successful and doing things that you value.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And the balance and the juggle of that is always present, regardless of, what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No matter what role you're in, no matter what job you're in, like it's just a valuable thing to model and have. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I was really grateful for you being so transparent about, and I think it was probably a year, maybe longer ago now, is you've really shared what it's like when your kids aren't with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think we don't talk about divorce and what it does to impact us as women. Openly. Like this is, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we need to talk about it. So if you're open, I'd love to.
Totally open. Yeah.
So I guess my question is, how has it changed? Because you've been in this single mom now with a new fiance and all this, but you've been sharing your kids with your now ex-husband for what, 3 years?
5 years.
5 years. How was it for you initially, and how has it evolved?
Initially it was hard. I still remember the first time that, like after, I don't even know if we were officially divorced, but the first time they left for the weekend with him, like I literally fell apart. Like, what is this? I felt super alone. And it wasn't like, oh, I get this extra time to be able to do all these things or paint my nails or go out with my friends. No, it was like a punch in the gut. And, there was a rocky time for me and my ex where he was just not a fan of me. And of course I wasn't a fan of him. I mean, that is obviously divorce, 101. But early on we had a conversation where it was like, okay, if we're going to do this, like, no matter what your feelings are towards me or vice versa, the kids cannot feel that. And I think from that point forward, it's been working. It's hard every time they have to go, and we've switched schedules. I mean, I would keep them all the time if I could, literally, but that's in my best interest. That's not in their best interest. So, I was a child of divorce, so I think I understand this a lot better than some people. And I never wanted my kids to feel like I ever did, being ripped or pulled apart, or like one side was bashing the other, like you're in the middle. Divorce can kind of be whatever you want it to be. I think everybody has a preconceived notion that it's just terrible and it's like cats and dogs fighting all the time, which it totally can be. But I think I have strived to make it as easy as it can be for the kids. And we've obviously been doing that for, it's 5 years now. So, we definitely have an interesting, setup. My fiance coaches hockey with my ex for my kids, coaches baseball with him. A lot of people are just like surprised by that, but they make it work, and it's about the kids. So, I'm a total open book when it comes to that. And I know that when I've been going through so much stuff, like I search for things, like I search for support in those areas, and it just doesn't exist.
And when we know statistically 50% of us are getting divorced.
Yeah. But yet there's nothing out there for support or people talking about the hard stuff or anything like that. So, I never wanted to feel like I am just like, oh, woe is me, poor me. But I do want people to know that, like, it can be amazing and it can be hard at the same time, and it never gets easier. I mean, your kids are kind of developing part of their life away from you. So it's kind of weird. It's like partial empty nest syndrome before they're even like on their own. So
yeah. You know, Lexi has a relationship with my ex-husband, obviously, that is evolving. You know, it had a rocky period, and I feel like everybody, George probably more so than anybody, has really invested a ton into making that something again. Because it's really important, but it doesn't make it easy.
No. Oh no.
You know, and when Lexi goes and has her time with, you know, Dad Ross, I ache a little. Even still, it's like, I'm going to do something. And I really been struggling lately. Like, do we do the fun thing without her?
Yeah.
Do we wait until we can do the fun thing all together? And most of the time we've been waiting to do the fun thing all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is. I think that we balance it well, where if there's things that we need to get done, everything like any appointments or anything like that, or even this podcast interview, like you schedule those when the boys aren't around. And then that, for me, that allows complete freedom of time when they are around. And, you know, like, especially, I know I talked about it. I posted on social media how hard this past Sunday was when they left, when we dropped them off to go to their dad's. And, you know, it was one of the days where it's like, I don't always do this, but I kind of fell apart a little bit. And it was like, we had such a great weekend, and cutting it short, it was just kind of like, you go back and it's like, you go home and their bag that they came home with is still laying there by their room or something like that. Like, you can just, it's such a weird feeling. It's such a weird feeling. And I know that the divorced parents out there feel it. And I imagine even that my ex feels it when vice versa. So, that's just, it's, of course, and everybody will say, well, this was your decision. This is, the life that you chose. And it is, there's so much happiness in my life right now. But at the same time, it doesn't change that it's like that part of it is still really hard. So.
Yeah, I think honoring, and I've been spending a lot of time the last few weeks really like feeling my feelings, which is not very comfortable to do a lot.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
But like to say, it's kind of like naming anything. Once you name it and it's no longer mysterious or secret, it really takes away a lot of its power.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like saying, hey, this is really hard. Being a divorced woman with kids, being remarried, having more kids, that's real hard.
Oh, yeah.
That's hard shit. And we do it. And
yep, exactly.
It's worth it. It doesn't make me regret any piece of it. Because I wouldn't change a word, not a thing.
Exactly. It's just like like I always, a lot of times I tell people, like, you have to walk through the fire to get to the other side. Like you have to do the hard stuff to get the reward. Like in most everything, there's that period of time where it's going to be totally rough. And I just feel like what I do now and how I model this co-parenting situation is it's literally going to affect them for the rest of their lives. So it's so important to like kind of get a handle on it. And not only that, but like not be afraid to express things, like show emotion or anything like that. Like it's a healthy thing, to be like, I miss you. I can't wait to see you again, or anything. It's good to just be totally open about the stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I need a deep breath again from that. It's hard to talk about that stuff because it's vulnerable. And I think for me, and maybe you can relate to this, like my marriage failing, that was a big blow. That wasn't what I anticipated to happen. Yeah. Obviously, nobody goes into that with, and it hurt a lot. And so to express that as part of who I am, like that hurt, there isn't like a physical scar, but it exists in my life.
Yeah. Yep. And, I feel like once, like going through divorce, getting divorced, like there's some sort of like weird, magnifying glass on you. Like, I feel like people, it's just human nature. Like watch what's going on or watch how people are acting. And I'm just really proud of how we've been able to make it work. So yeah, good stuff, bad stuff, but in the end, it all shakes out.
If you were to give advice to a woman that's kind of where you were 5 years ago, going through a divorce, what would you say to her?
I would say to put yourself in your kid's shoes. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to hear? What do you want them to feel? And even though it might be hard for you to exemplify the behavior that would make that kid feel good or loved or warm towards your ex, like do everything in your power to make it happen. I think a lot of times the focus on the kids gets lost, like what's best for them. I think that's the greatest thing I've learned is it's about them. Like we're adults and we can deal and we're going to keep going on with our lives and meet someone new or not or whatever. and carry on. But your kids, especially when they're young, if you have kids in your divorce, like that is their whole world. Like their family is their whole world. So do whatever you can to make that as supportive it as you can. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Yeah. What do you do these days for you?
What do I do for me? Well, I listen to podcasts. Boy, I don't even know. I go to therapy. That's one thing I do for me. Like that is something amazing. I like to be outside. I like to literally enjoy the sun or being near the water or anything like that. I love reading. We love traveling. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if I have an answer for that other than I stay busy. Right now I'm a baseball mom, so I do that for me, going to watch my kids' games. But as far as self-care goes, I think that a lot of it is just, like you said, you've been feeling your feels basically. And I think that's one thing I'm learning right now, is that the best thing you can do for yourself is to listen to yourself. Like, what do you need, like, in that moment? Like, it might just be like, you need to go sit outside and enjoy the sounds of nature, or it might be that you need to meet up with a friend and have dinner, or it might be that you need a walk. Like, so I'm really like a in the moment self-care kind of girl.
I love that. I think, my friend Amy, she has this thing every once in a while, she'll just pop in my text and she'll say, "How are you right now?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a different question than, "Hey, how are you?"
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're instinctively, you answer, "Hi, how are you?" with like, "Good, fine, good enough, busy." Yeah. But "How are you right now?" really puts me into a place of assessing,
Yep.
Okay, how am I right now? And she's such a beautiful and like a treasure to me, because she will hold space for however I am right now.
Yep.
And if right now I'm like needing a good cry, she's going to be like, "Yeah, do it."
Yep. Exactly. I think that a lot of times we don't take a minute to feel like the now. Like, we're so preoccupied with so many things that you don't stop to think about, like, okay, like, how am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, how am I really doing right now? And it's so incredibly important. And, in the past year, I've learned that is it's a survival skill. It's a life skill. Everybody should have, like, to kind of have a moment to check in with themselves. Like, how am I doing?
Yeah. I have a journaling practice that I do. I want to get into, this podcast will hold me accountable to doing that. Like, I want to be more consistent. The way it looks now is more on demand. Like, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, I force myself to write until I get to a place of I can go back to sleep. Because almost always it's on like the second or the third page or 15 on a list of 20 that I get to, what is it that's actually keeping me up? What is it that I actually feel really heavy with right now?
Yep.
And you have to, in the episode with Stephanie Hayes, she talks about the necessary mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to go through the necessary mess to get to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it feels like that. It feels like slogging through mess.
Mm-hmm.
But once you unlock it, it's like, oh, wow, that's something.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally relate to that on so many levels.
Right? Yeah. There's just something about getting through something to get to a place of, hey, okay, this is how I'm experiencing this.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's a lot of times I'll just take out my phone, my notes, and just type how I'm feeling, to get it out. Because a lot of times, like, getting out those feelings or anything that is going on, it's like part of the process. I mean, we all like to talk to people, talk to our friends, like, how are you feeling? And kind of getting it out, with your girlfriends, or talking about it. And talking about things is like so healing and so helpful. So yeah, writing for me is like exactly where it's at. That's why I share so much and am so open about everything going on in my life, is because to me that is like part of the process. Like, and if my words or anything I share can like connect with someone else and they're like, okay, I don't feel so alone, or there's other people out there that feel this or understand me, then that's like a gift.
Yeah. Liz Gilbert was on a podcast. I'll link it in the show notes, with Jonathan Fields. I think it was that podcast. And she talked about how she likes to learn in public because she likes to learn from people in public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, I can really relate to that. Some things are private, but there's so much that I could learn from other people sharing what they're learning.
Yep. Yeah. So true.
It's powerful.
It is.
Okay. I want to get into the lightning round of questions.
Okay. Here we go.
What's your go-to jam to up your energy?
Macklemore. Can't Hold Us Down.
What time do you wake up?
Oh boy, that varies. It literally varies. It could be any time from 6 a.m. or it could be 9 a.m., to be honest.
What does breakfast look like?
My favorite breakfast is a thin bagel with cream cheese and Trader Joe's everything but the bagel seasoning.
That's good stuff.
Oh, it needs to be on everything.
It can be, it turns out.
It really can, actually.
It's like everything but the bagel on potatoes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Throw it on the potatoes. Yes. Absolutely. What's your favorite ritual?
My favorite ritual. Boy, this is hard. I think going to bed. I think just winding down and kind of getting in a space where you're relaxed and calm down. Everything from brushing your teeth to, just, I like that because I'm so high anxiety, I just feel like I'm always going, that the winding down is my favorite part.
Coffee or tea?
Neither.
Ooh.
Water.
What do you drink? I'm drinking coffee.
I'll probably get hit every way from sideways with this, but I like Diet Coke and I'm a water drinker too. So
nice.
Yep.
Morning person or night owl?
Definitely night owl.
What is a book you've given the most?
You Are a Badass.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Is it on my shelf right now? Yeah. You Are a Badass.
That is also a great audiobook. Yeah. And I highly suggest, for no other reason, go to audible.com, get the free book, get that book, and then listen to You Are a Badass whenever you are not feeling like a badass.
Yes. And she's amazing to listen to. Like, she has a voice and is amazing. Like, I want to be her friend immediately.
I feel like she has a voice of somebody else I know.
Yeah. Like, she sounds like a friend.
She does. It's just, she's wonderful. Go listen. Yeah. It's Jen, right?
Jen Sincero. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. That's what it is. What can someone do to help you feel appreciated?
I'm a words of affirmation girl. I like to hear it. That gives me all the warm fuzzies.
Somebody is curious about Young Living. What do you suggest they do first?
Get a hold of me. Obviously. Well, it just kind of depends on what angle they're coming in at. If they want to do research, they can do that. I was the girl that just jumped right in and was like, okay. And I did my research after. because I was doing it, it became a business for me. So I needed to know my stuff. But yeah, I'm obviously more than willing to help anybody learn about, the company, what they stand behind, what I think there's so much more to it than just their products and essential oils, like the Young Living Foundation and amazing stuff that they're doing. So, I think that they're totally transparent in their products, their process to getting their oils and their products. So I would just get a hold of me. I'll help you.
Awesome. Where can people find you online?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. I'm in the process of creating a new blog right now. I'm going to get back to blogging.
Oh, yay.
I have so much to share, and I love writing that I feel like it's just, even if blogging was so 10 years ago, I'm still going there. So
I love it. What are you diffusing right now?
Stress Away and Orange. It's like a orange dreamsicle. And
very nice.
It's happy and lovely.
I've got my frankincense and some blue cypress together.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, a yoga teacher recommended that mix when doing meditation and when trying to be focused, and it is amazing.
I love it. I use Frank every day on my skin, and it's very good for your mind. It's just good for all the things.
Right? Yeah. Awesome. Jenny, thank you so much for sharing today and for talking with us. And I so appreciate you. And I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yay. Thanks for having me. I love doing this. So fun.
Awesome.